Ladies and gentlemen, this is internet personality Vangelus, breaking trails to talk about the trail-breaking trail breaker Trailcutter in his deluxe generations form. My expected favorite from the first wave of the IDW Deluxes, Trailcutter was dethroned by Orion Pax once I got the 4 toys in hand. But did he still live up to my expectations of quality? Let's find out. Trailcutter's alt mode is a slightly armored little truck with a vaguely bulbous front section and some doofy little cannons on either side of the searchlight up top. It's unmistakable who it's meant to be between the black plating and red and yellow stripe patterns on either side of the vehicle. There's a bunch of stuff sculpted on here, most notably the non-functional winch system on the front bumper. Unfortunately, a lot of this has gone unpainted, and if you swing around to the back of the truck, there is just a sea of untouched black plastic. I believe those sacrifices were made for the sake of the robot mode, but man, thank goodness for repro labels. The size of the truck mode is, on the whole, a tad small, but it's got some beef and heft to it that makes up for that to some degree. And it can roll like an eager winner of the Rodimus Star Award. So let's just keep him rolling along into his transformation. With the backplate removed, Trailcutter's legs use a double-hinged swing maneuver to extend rather than the usual pull and slide. Unfortunately, his rotating shoulder panels lack any kind of satisfying click, more so resting on his rearview mirrors rather than attaching to them. The upper body does a really cool variation on the classic hood chest system, collapsing in a few different directions to break up the panels and seal up a bit more slim and tightly. Plug the backplate into place as a backpack, and we have us a force field specialist ready to go. Taking massive cues from Alex Milne's More Than Meets the Eye design for the character, Generations Trailcutter cuts a wonderful modern robot physique in plastic form. The design and shape of his chest is superb, and though there's some hollowness in his forearms and lower legs, at least there's also some sculpted detail inside those chasms to try and add a bit of life to the void. While there isn't a ton of paint all over his body, Trailcutter's got multi-stage applications on both his shoulders and knees that feel fairly mission-critical. The silver, red, and blue kneecap paint apps in particular provide a key nod to the original Trailbreaker. And while his light pipeable visor is kinda the wrong color, Trailcutter's silver-painted face gives him a neutral complexion that completes the look to a decent degree. The backpack can be removed and unfolded to form a shield accessory, which looks pretty alright, and throws back to his force field superpowers. Though, it has like 2 guns jutting off of it too. I guess they're force field projectors! Whether he's breaking trails or cutting trails, Joseph P. Trailman has got a simple head swivel. Goes left and right. There's no real up or down stuff. The transformation joint lets him do that, but that kind of just looks like, I don't know, like he's really grossed out by a smell in the room or something. His shoulders are full ranged ball joints. There's a big cut up top so that you can do that. And it feels pretty good. It's a little bit janky though if you're messing around with it kind of roughly and then you disengage that, because this doesn't really lock in. So it holds fine, it just will do this a bunch and might make some people get a little bit uncomfortable. There is a bicep swivel and a simple elbow joint, roundabouts, a 90-degree bend when it's in focus. His wrists don't have any kind of jointage, although they can do this from the transformation. If you get something out of that, then you're doing better than me, man. His waist has a glorious swivel, and with a guy whose body is shaped like this, like with this enormous barrel chest and like a tapering abdomen and waist, I find that this has a lot of expression and emotion, and it also kind of looks like he's just friggin' punching dudes over and over again. His hips have got ball joints. They're like there's no huge cuts like at the top of his shoulders, but they have got a very good range of motion in all of their axes. There's a thigh swivel that does what it's supposed to do, and a knee joint that's also a simple 90-degree hinge. His feet can fold up like that for the transformation, and that's kind of annoying because it doesn't really accomplish much. And when he's standing, he has a real funny shape to the bottom of his foot. It's kind of rounded in places and tapers here and there. Despite there being a solid block where the heel would be, I find that he, unless you have him in like a squat stance like this, he is pretty good at wobbling like that. And it's kind of annoying. All this is working okay until you stick his potential backpack on. This thing adds to the problems, because I think it looks better on his back, but it makes him wobble a whole lot more in many poses where I kind of wish he wasn't. He doesn't fall down, it's just, much like the shoulder things up here, there's just this weird inherent sense of wobble that I find a little discomforting. Also, when you play with him a lot, it's pretty easy to disjoint that transformation joint, and oh man. Anyway, I kind of like him. He's a fun toy, whatever the case may be, and he's a durable one. I mean, he's Trailbreaker, you know. Let's give him a little bit of a lift. Give him a flight of the Trailcutter. I'm being abusive. I love Trailcutter Breaker, you know, and I really enjoy him in the comic books. I'm looking forward to many years of heartwarming stories of adversity and personal growth to come from this character. He's really touched my heart, and I think he's touched a lot of your hearts. And let's look forward to another 20 years of Trailbreaker stories in the IDW universe, ladies and gentlemen. Something something force field face. I went into the first wave of IDW Deluxes thinking this guy was going to be the top of the stack, and for several folks, he is. And while I think he is a fantastic Transformers toy, a few little things like his wonky foot stability and surprisingly bland vehicle mode make him much more of a solid second placer to me. I mean, sure, I'll give him an award for being a good toy, but champion figures like Orion Pax are going to get bigger awards. Anyway, this has been Internet Personality Vangelus, and I hope to see more of Trailcutter in the IDW universe proper. He's finally made a small return in Season 2 of More Than Meets the Eye, so fingers crossed that he gets a few more things to do that don't involve, you know, heartbreak and tragedy. The meat and potatoes of a James Roberts diet.